Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah. I was trying to jump in there.
Good morning, Sue. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, yeah, that's your wrist.
Testing. Can you guys hear me? All right. Can you guys hear me okay? Thumbs up. All right. Judging by the thumbs up, I guess we got some connectivity. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Fun Day Sunday a la Sean, because Kirsten's on a plane right now. We're going to get started by coming to the middle parts of our mats. We're going to separate our feet out to the sides of the mat and turn our toes in ever so slightly, excuse me, while we make an attempt to kind of warm up our bodies. I'm going to bring my hands over heart, kind of at that nice resting position. And I'm going to bring some straightness to my legs. And as I do so, I'm going to drift my hips backwards ever so slightly. It's going to initiate a little bit of a forward lean, and I'd like you to have that today. We're going to brace our spine in this lean. And to do so, I'm going to ask you to pull your belly button up and in and make kind of a nice contraction in that six-pack muscle of yours. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, move the arms forward, keeping them level with shoulder height. Palms are facing each other. Separate your fingers nice and wide, and then draw your elbows back and serve those arms back out. And let's continue to this motion. Simply articulating our shoulder joints, getting some good synovial fluid moving in there and letting them be nice and loose. Now we're going to hold out the arms and draw back the hips a little more. And as you inhale, I'm going to raise the arms. And as you exhale, I'd like you to fold forward by drawing the hips backwards. And then as you inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, extend. Exhale, fold. And do that a few more times on your own breathing. This time we're going to hold our back in extension and pull with the head as we drift back the hips a little more. I'd like you to feel a pronounced weight bearing, mostly felt in the back part of the foot, the heel, of course. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale it again, fold forward. And as you unhinge, fill the lungs with air, come all the way back up to standing, and salute the sun. Let those fingers pull the arms nice and long. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, fold halfway forward. Draw the arms into the body, keep the palms facing the earth. We're going to float the body forward and backward. And as we do so, I'd like you to get a registration of weight in the feet and try to find a distribution between front and back that's equal. We're going to shift side to side and do the same thing with that side to side, finding balance. And then when you find it, I'd like you to kind of lock down the feet by trying to spiral the heels out and away from the body. Now you're going to take your thumbs and rotate them up to the sky and grow that neck nice and long. And as you inhale, I'd like you to sweep the arms forward, palms facing the sky, brought up to shoulder level. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, use your thumbs to slowly guide the arms backwards. Feel that nice opening through the chest, and then bring the arms of yours back together, getting the touch of the forearms and the baby fingers. Serve those hands forward, and then inhale. On the exhale, make those hands into fists and draw the elbows, tracing your rib cage. Follow them all the way back. Take a big inhale and exhale and serve it back out again, connecting baby fingers and forearms as those hands open widely. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, fold the hands together, bring back over heart, fold halfway forward. Straighten out through the legs, draw those hips back, extend those arms straight forward. Take a big inhale, as you exhale, let them fold forward. Let that head just kind of dangle. Rotate it from side to side. Calm that rotation. Draw your butt back, straighten out those legs. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Keep the back in extension and bend both knees. Now, step your feet so that the toes aim straight forward. We don't want any twerking going on for those knees. We have a nice alignment. We're going to kind of be in a squat-like position here for a couple seconds. I'd like you to experiment with the range of your movement here. See if you can get your butt down a little lower, and then push it high to the sky, and then articulate between the 2 points. So increasing range of motion in our joints is what we're focusing, or one of our focuses today. So the high point will always be the high point. You won't be able to get any higher as you push your hips high. The low point is where we're increasing your range of motion. You want to try to see if you can get to new depths by lowering down. I often joke, or sometimes will joke, about how this is good preparation for train station travel in Europe. But okay, if you've never done that, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And if you have, you probably have a smile on your face right now. Now, push your hips high to the sky. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold back down. Bend both knees. Inhale, extend, and stand back all the way up, reach for the sky. Beautiful. And bring hands back over hearts. Take your right foot, step it forward. Find the center part of the mat, but find enough separation between left and right so that you feel balanced. You're up in the tippy toes of that back foot, and you want to make sure that your heel isn't inwardly rotated or exteriorly rotated. It's kind of pointing straight up if you can. That front foot, I'd like you to get a nice balance, but I want most of the weight actually in the front part of the foot today. So the ball of that big toe, that front right foot, I'd like you to kind of feel it connected to the mat. And then we're going to take our right knee, we're going to kind of let it push forward. So the pad of that foot is heavily weighted now, right? We're still up in the tippy toes of that back foot, but we're going to drive the heel down and push the knee forward. So we can kind of feel a nice lengthening through a lot of chain of muscle on that left leg, both the lower left leg and also on that left hip. And if you got that experience, you're kind of getting this now. We're going to push both legs straight and elevate the hips. So we're trying to get that high, the apex, that high part, best we can. And now we're going to come back down. Left heel drives earth, right knee pushes forward, and then we rise back up. Pushing into the ball of that big toe, front foot, that left heel driving the motion down. Keeping hands over heart. We're going to progress this a little bit as we make the class, as the class goes on. But you're just driving and rising. Driving heel, straightening both legs, coming up on the tippy toes of that back foot. Should feel a little bit of intensity building in that right hip. And then I'm going to rise up, take that right foot, we're going to explode backwards off of it. So drive it back and then switch sides. Same setup, opposite side, same weight bearing and same kind of kinetic connection here. Ball of that left big toe, nicely connected to your mat, and that heel of that back right foot aiming up at the sky. Check it out, making sure. Now, left knee drives forward, right heel drives to the earth. So my left knee is bending and extending, and my right ankle is bending and extending, or flexion and extension if you want to be more technical. So we're going to articulate our joints very specifically in the front and in the back leg, rising up, lowering down. Again, range of motion and control and stability are going to kind of be connected today. So we've added that little bit of dimension of stability. Now, on this rise, take that left foot, drive it forward and come back to the standing position. Good morning, everybody. Push your hands to the sky. Take a big inhale. I'm going to walk up to the middle part of my mat. I'm going to keep my fingers nice and separated. As I inhale, I'm going to lengthen, pulling my hands with my fingers all the way to the sky. I'm going to fill my lungs with air, and I'm going to blow it all out as I lower my elbows down, shoulder height. So the inward rotation of shoulders is often something that plagues us. So a lot of times when we try to make these corrections, we try to drive the shoulders back or force them into position. I'd like you to kind of work the correction of location by extending the spine. So if you can imagine that upper spine growing back, and it's going to allow those shoulders to kind of pull back with the spine actually elongating as opposed to ratcheting back and trying to get them back. Now we've got that all taken care of. I'd like you to push your hands to the sky and lower the elbows back down and lower them below shoulder height. See if you can kind of bring those arms into the rib cage as best you can, and then push back up. And one of the things I'd like you to try is to keep the arms sort of articulating forward, which really means your shoulders are rounding forward. I'd like you to kind of come to draw back those elbows in a straight line and keep them in that line as you push their hands to the sky. And let's do that a couple more times, slowly down and purposefully up. And then this, we're going to hold elbows shoulder heights, sweep the arms together. So like palms begin to touch. And then I'd like you to inhale and open and exhale and close. And make that movement happen a couple more times. And then let's bring arms back together, hands over heart. And we're going to set up our next exercise similar to the first. So this is our progression. We're going to take our right foot this time, step it forward. Left heel aims up at the sky. And we're going to take that front foot, that ball, that big toe of ours. We're going to make sure it's nicely connected. And we're also going to bring the heel into play here. So I'd like you to kind of pull your hips forward and back so that you feel a balance between the ball of the big toe and the heel. And find that weight relatively equal. And when you get it, I'd like you to kind of lock in on this leg, secure it, make it strongly connected. You feel the muscles engaging. So we're going to keep whatever bend we have in the knee right where it is. We're going to take our hips and our upper body and use them to impart load into the muscle on that right hip of ours, the glute. So as you lean forward, I want you to feel enough workload where you can kind of go, oh, okay, got something going on. Now, from our hands over heart, we're going to extend the arms forward. You'll notice that that's going to add a little more work into that muscle, and that's fine. So we're going to sweep the arms to the sky, and then let the arms lower and sweep back. So I would refer to this as woodpecker. It's kind of a yoga type pose, and really, actually, it is not. It's not kind of, it is. So the arms sweeping back, I'd like you to rotate the thumbs to the sky so the palms are facing away from the body. And then as we sweep the arms forward, we're going to rotate the palms to face as we raise the arms. And then lower back down, sweeping the arms back. And then between these 2 points, just keep the movement going. So we're kind of corkscrewing the arms, which is really like a therapy of sorts. It helps to kind of floss the nerves along the arms, allowing them to kind of waken up a little more. reduce any adhesion, or help to in any event. Now, as we do this, you might feel the heat on that right hip building. And that's an important heat because when we talk about hip mobility, there's some big movers of the hip. And what you feel burning right now is one of those big movers. That's your gluteal. So keep the arms raising and lowering a couple more times, making sure we've got a nice isometric exercise for that. Hold the hands back over heart. We're going to explode from the front foot backwards. Hit it. Once you arrive back, start to set up the opposite side. Same kind of setup. We're going to make sure we have a nice elongation with a slight bend in the knee. We're going to find the weight distribution between the ball of the big toe left foot and the left heel. And then when you get that, you're going to lock onto it. We're going to take the muscle engagement as an opportunity to add overload into that left gluteal by leaning in now. And as we get that lean going on, gauge how far low you can go, right? How much work can that gluteal on that left side take today? And the gauge here is the lower back, right? When you feel it starting to kind of work hard, it means that the gluteal isn't doing an effective amount of work. So I want you to find that balance between the low back and gluteal to know the load you're working with is going to be accepted by the gluteal. Now that we've got that taken care of, extend the arms forward. Sweep the arms to the sky, and then lower back down. Same movement of the hands, same kind of flossing movement through those arms of ours, sweeping back and opening up and reaching forward and up. And again, keep the stability of the spine realized by keeping that six-pack muscle of yours active through this range of motion of the arms. The load being imparted should be felt mostly in that left cheek. And you know which cheek I'm talking about, right? All right, keep the movement going. Keep that heat building. Oh, I mean, how good does that feel? Do a couple more of these reps. And then bring hands over heart, explode backwards. Welcome to a standing position, hands over heart going, thank goodness, that's all done with. Put your hands to the sky. Inhale, extend by using the fingers to pull along that whole body yours. Powerfully exhale and fold it down. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, bring hands over heart, setting up for our next exercise. So these are very kinetically oriented exercises. Kinetic from the feet all the way up to the head. The first one is so good for that middle part of our body, the glutes. Now we're going to work on the spinal column. We have a nice wide stance. Now, degree of width is important here. So comfortable width, and then kind of going to that next level by going a little wider. So you have at least maybe a double the shoulder width and maybe even more. And we're not talking split still here, right? We're just talking enough base where we can be stable and allow that inner thigh or those inner thigh muscles of ours to kind of feel like they're kind of a little tension in them. And if you've got that, keep those legs straight. If you feel more weight in your toes, anytime during this exercise, I'd like you to be reminded to drift backwards the hips so that the heels feel like they have most of the weight. So just check in with yourself periodically as we go through this exercise. Now, hands over hips, spine nice and long, head pulling tall, shoulders are not rotated anteriorly. We're kind of a nice exterior rotation. We're going to begin to fold, and we're not going to go halfway. We're just going to start to pull and lengthen out those inner thigh muscles. So we're going to do this a few repetitions. And this is a good opportunity to begin to remind yourself where that weight bearing is experienced in the foot. And again, if it's in the front part of the foot right now, I urge you to pull back the hips and give me as much weight bearing as you can in your heels. All right, so that this next repetition down, we're going to tabletop the back. And then we're going to use our hands to support some of the upper body. This might take you out of that tabletop position, but that's fine. We're going to use some offloading of weight. Now, I'd like you to focus again on drifting back the hips and give me as much pronouncement of weight in your heels without toppling backwards, of course. You're going to take your left hand, you're going to sweep it out to the side of your body, shoulder height, with the palm facing your earth. You're going to grow the spine nice and long. And as you draw back the hips, I'd like you to take your left shoulder and open it to the sky. And you notice how I said shoulder, right? Specific. This is for spinal rotation, not more movement through the shoulder capsule. This is for rotation of the spine. And then as you lower down that left arm, we're going to switch over to the opposite side and get that right shoulder pulling up and into the air. And as we begin to transition from side to side, we're going to do so on your own frequency. And I'm going to remind you as you start this side to side that you check in. You know what I'm going to say, right? Check in with your feet. If those hips of yours drifting forward, just the front part of the foot feel like it's mastering or holding most of the weight as opposed to the heel. So just working from side to side. See if you can kind of open a little more. And again, little reminder, we open with the shoulder rotating to the sky and not the arm. Let's do a couple more reps. I'm beginning to feel this through my low back a little bit, which means those muscles that are used for rotational stability are getting exercised, which is important for spinal stabilization of that lumbar or lower back. So we're going to do one more rep on each side. Left, and then right. And then we're going to bring both hands to the earth. I'm going to walk our feet in back onto my mat for me, back to the center part of the mat, depending on how you were configured. I've got my feet positioned so they're the width of my shoulders, and my toes are aiming straight forward. I'm going to extend into a flat back, draw my booty back, and when I exhale, I'm going to let the upper body just fold down for a nice stretch and lengthening through that lower back. Should feel good. Let's inhale, extend to a flat back. Bend both knees. Sweep the arms forward as you stand nice and tall. Oh, inhale, extend, pull everything to the sky. Exhale, let those arms fall. Draw your shoulders back up. Hold the shoulders up. Right now, I have my palms rotated internally, so they're on my upper thighs. I'm going to rotate them externally as I pull the shoulders high. And then I'm going to rotate them back in. And I'm going to let the shoulders rotate forward. I'm going to give some spinal flexion on the upper spine, and then I'm going to inhale, extend, and rotate back. And we're going to do that a few times. And on the last iteration here, we're going to keep nice and tall. We're going to keep those thumbs rotating backwards. We're going to take a big inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. As you inhale, fill the lungs. And as you exhale, fold all the way down, come down onto the mat. Just going to grab some water. Sorry about that. It's funny, I don't have the boss here to get me all set up. All right, so now we're on the mat. We're going to have our legs extended straight, with our toes aiming up the sky, staff pose, basically. So now that we're all ready for staff pose, I'll scoot back a little bit so I'm in camera there. Nice. Now, we're going to take our toes, we're going to try to separate them, just like we do with our fingers, right? Just going to try to pull everything apart. And if you feel any tension on the bottom part of your foot, that's perfect. That's kind of what we're trying to activate, is spreading the toes to get that little bit of establishment of muscle engagement on the bottom part of the foot. While you keep those toes extending, I like you to reach forward and kind of wrap your hand over top. Now, if that's not possible to do with legs extended straight, bend your legs, right? This is all about the feet right now. This is the beginning of your kinetic chain. This is your kinetic experience. We're starting with that. We're going to keep those toes spreading wide, knees straight or bent. We have our hands wrapping over so that the fingers kind of form onto the plantaris or the plantar region of the foot, just above where the plantaris tendon connects with the foot, hence the region, plantar region. It's all for that tendon. So we have the toes being pulled back in towards the foot right now. And that's going to help you create a little more length along the bottom of the foot. If you feel that nice experience, I want you to enjoy it a little more. We're going to release the big toe and keep that palm to toe connection for the smaller toes. So the big toe is free floating. I'd like you to take the big toe and kind of point it forward. And then while you're working to pull or use the muscles of the foot to pull the big toe forward, I'd like you to use the hands and pull the small toes backwards. We have a counter-posing movement here. So you have the big toes pushing forward on their own. It's big toe time. And the small ones are giving that nice little palm-assisted pull towards the back. And then let's release everything. And then take your hands on the top part of the foot and then flex everything forward. So you want the big toe, little toes, everything kind of being pulled forward. If you feel a nice feeling on the top part of your foot, you're kind of experiencing what I want you to be experiencing right now. If it's possible to be experienced, I'd like you to try to release the big toe now and begin to focus on those little toes and using the fingers, our digits on our hand, to help the digits on our feet go into a higher level of flexion. You get that nice elongation along the top part of the foot. And then we're going to release that. We're going to flex the foot. That means pulling the foot in towards the shins and then extend the foot, toes pushing out. Let's do that a couple times. So this is just simply a mobility exercise for the foot, for the toes in particular, and also for the ankles. You can do this at any time during the day. It will help with your neurological system, actually. When you need to register balance, it's done with proprioceptors, and a large amount of them, of your bodies anyways, are located in feet. And the better they work, the more functional they are, the more messaging your brain gets. Imagine how that will affect you positively. Overload of the brain. Now, let's hold the ankles straight. Let's take the left leg. I'm going to keep that in spot. And then I'm going to take the right leg, and I'm going to bring it and step it over the left. Now, I'm going to find a spot for me where I can be. Because a lot of us cannot connect the feet to the floor. Maybe it's the side of the foot. Whatever your version of this is fine. The important part is the elongation along that side of the right leg. And I'm going to use my arms to help assist my spine here. Keep my spine nice and long. So as I grow the spine, I'm also going to grow my neck, pulling the head to the sky. And I'm going to add this engagement, the spinal engagement of this, with a proud chest. And you might feel the musculature of the back engage just a little more perfectly. Now, the elbows, I'd like you to pull the elbows backwards, proud of the chest, grow the spine all together. Feel a big long breath in. As you exhale, let's switch up the legs. You can see we're kind of building on this as we go along. Setting up the opposite side, the same thing. Getting that foot planted wherever it may be. Keeping that nice extension through the spine. Crowding out the chest, growing the neck and the head. Using the elbows to help the chest become even more proud as I kind of grow the body. I'm filling my lungs. And as I exhale, I'm going to release that leg forward And then I'm going to come down all the way onto my back. Oh, full body style. One vertebrae at a time. Arriving on my back, I'm going to step my feet up and into my hips as close as they will go. So there's a high degree of flexion in my knee. And I'm going to take my pelvic girdle and kind of locate it in a spot where I can feel, and when I mean pelvic location, I'm talking about rotation. So I'm going to try to rotate my pubis up towards my tummy. It's kind of like tucking your hips under it. If you're familiar with that term. And you're going to feel some muscles like the six-pack muscle, your rectus abdominis, engaged. I like you to feel that engagement. And I also like you to have the experience of your low back, the skin thereof, touching your mat as best you can. Some of us have a high degree of mobility through that lumbar spine, and some of us don't. So I want you to find your best version and give me as much of that sensation, skin touching, means you've engaged and stabilized that lumbar spine. That's really what we're looking for. Now, while we keep that engagement, I'd like you to take your right leg and extend it out on a 45-degree angle. So it's not up, it's not down, it's kind of in between those 2 points. And I'd like you to take the heel and push it out and away from the body, and then return that foot back to its origination, and then step up the other foot, extend, push the heel out. You're going to know that heel is pushing when those quads and that left leg engage, right? That's kind of the engagement muscle for that. Now, left foot steps down, right foot steps up. We're alternating left to right, kind of like we're walking. I'm going to keep that stabilization we created in that lower back of ours. I'm going to maintain that emphasis even though we're moving. Do a couple more repetitions. And then when you're ready, we're going to take this to 2 legs. So I'm stepping right and left out simultaneously. And you notice that this is going to put a lot more emphasis on that six-pack muscle. Now, lower both, and let's reset this. I like you to do that pelvic rocking. Find that location of skin as much as you can get touching that mat of yours. Take the right leg, extend it forward. And then when you're ready, take the left leg, but don't lose that connection. Don't let the low back just pop off your mat. I want you to engage that six-pack as best you can. Lower both feet. So we are overloading that rectus abdominis now, and you can tell how well it supports your lower back. If it kind of fails immediately, you know you need some work to be done there. So I'm going to take that right foot and left foot. We're loading in. We're going to hold, hold, hold. Bring the knees up and into the chest. Extend the legs back out. And as you extend the legs out, this is again an awareness of what's happening in your lumbar spine. If it's popping up off the mat, I'd like you to try to resist that as much as you can and use that six-pack muscle to kind of keep the spinal flexion in check. And all we're really doing by moving hips, the legs that is we're kind of exercising the hip joint, and we're asking our six-pack muscle to work isometrically. And it should feel like it's getting a lot of work when those legs go up. I hope you get it. Now, hold out, sweep the legs up so you have a 90-degree bend through the hips. And you're going to take your fingers, reach them up to the toes. You're going to flex the toes, and you're going to try to reach up and touch the toes with the fingers. And you're going to hold there. As you release your next breath, lower down all the way so the back of the head hits your mat, gently of course. And then we're going to begin to drop the chin into the chest and reach the fingers up towards the toes. And then when you're going to get a touch of it, see if you can kind of extend a little higher. And then relax it all down. Extend your legs straight out. Extend your arms above your head. Use your fingers and toes to pull all of those front body muscles nice and long. As you fill the lungs, enjoy the moments. And as you exhale, let's bring those feet back underneath our body. Sorry, feet up to where the hips are. How's that for good cueing? And to keep the feet as wide as the mat this time as we step them out. I'd like you to take that pelvic rotation. See if the pubes can pull up and in towards the stomach, thus engaging that six-pack muscle. Another way I always like to say to check in with it is imagine I'm dropping a bowling ball. Probably heard me say that a few times, right? So imagine that. Engage it. Keep it strong. Let's take the hands, reach them up to the sky, right above the chest. And we're going to drop your chin into your chest, and we're going to start what's really known as a crunch by sweeping the arms forward down. That's kind of like the rotating through the shoulders. When they get about knee level, I'd like you to try to push the fingertips through the knees, that big gap between your two legs, and then lower back down. Let the arms return back up to a high reach. You can feel there's a lot of emphasis on the six-pack muscle of yours, hopefully. Arms begin their descent back towards the knees. When they reach that height, we're going to try to push the fingertips by really engaging. You're kind of lifting your shoulders. You have a high degree of flexion through your back. You're trying to pull with the fingers and get that muscle in that front part of that body and really engage where it's almost like miserable. And then we're going to relax it all down. And then reach the hands back, extend the toes all the way out. And we'll say goodbye to that exercise because that was your rectus abdominis, getting a nice workout. Pull your knees up and into the chest, forehead up to meet knees, rock and roll up to a seated position. And we're on to new things. We're going to come here to a seated position, and we're going to bring the bottoms of the feet together. Oops, give you a little bit better view there. And I've got my hands wrapping over my ankles. Now, some of us have rotational issues relative to the hips. So if this is where you need to start, that's fine. You know, we're all have different degrees and are along the journey to different extents. So wherever you are on this journey, the more important parts are the feet being connected, hands wrapping ankles. Now, with assistance of the arms, you can kind of initiate this, or if you have the muscle control to pull open those legs, that's great. We're also going to use the arms to we're going to use the arms two ways. The forearms to help push down the legs if we need it. And if it's not needed, we're going to use the arm to help pull that spinal column long so we have a nice extended spine. So whatever version you need to open with the forearms or arms pulling and crowding up the chest, I want you to find your version. Keeping that chest nice and long, pull with the head to the sky, crowd out the chest. Now I'm going to try to pull my feet in closer to the body. I need to make a little movement through the hips to allow some tissue to get out of the way. You're welcome to do the same. If you keep that chest nice and proud, I'd like you to try to open those legs a little more. If you need to lean forward and push down with the forearms, you can also do that too. So this is about opening. And then when you've done as best you can do, you're going to take the legs, you're going to take the left leg, you know, bring it forward with a 90-degree angle in the knee. And then we're going to take the right leg backwards. So we've done this exercise previously. And this is like a 90-degree. So what we're going to do is we're going to square up the body. And I mean by taking the shoulders and rotating forward. And then I'm going to walk forward the hands and fold onto that front leg. So this is a modification of pigeon pose, if you might have guessed. And if you didn't guess that, you don't have to guess anymore because you know. You inhale, extend. Back is extension. We're kind of walking back and bringing the body more to an upright position. And then we're going to fold back down. So as we start to move through this, if you can reduce the amount of bearing in the arms so that the muscles that are moving in the hips can get more workload, I urge you to try that. And if it's not there today, that's fine, because this is a journey, and it may be there tomorrow, the week after, maybe it's a couple months. So we're folding down, extending the spine. Inhaling as we rise up and exhaling as we lower. In this version, we're coming up and we're going to switch the legs around. So I'm bringing right leg to my 90 degree and my left leg to its 90 degree. And we're setting up nice and square. And we're going to begin the same exercise on this side, remembering that our arms bring as much assistance as we need. And once the muscles begin to master the weight, we allow them, we give them permission to take on more. And if we need to back off, we give ourselves permission to do that also. Inhaling as you rise up. Exhaling as you lower. So when I was talking earlier about some of our kinetics, the origination is from the foot. Some of our key kinetic fault points are the ankles, the knees, and the hips. And dysfunction in those joints often or translate into other issues, experiencing problems, including the lower back, because it really assumes a lot of the work that the muscles that allow hip, ankle, and knee flexion and extension, it receives the brunt of that when those joints don't work effectively. Okay, on this one, rise up, we're going to hold up. We're going to bring the legs back straight forward. And we're going to come all the way down onto the mat. And if you feel the hip flexors, like those little muscles above the hips, getting a little bit testy, that's fine, because you were really working them a lot. You had them in a high degree of flexion. So we're going to stretch them out a little bit. Take your toes, aim them forward, take your arms, reach them behind you, and pull. So it's like a whole anterior front body, if you will, muscle lengthening experience. Fill the lungs, grow the spine, and let those legs pull away from the body as best you can. And then as you exhale, time to get this stretch going. You're going to step your feet in, not with the heels as close to your butt, just slightly away. I'd like you to take your right leg and cross it over your left, and then I want you to slide down the leg so that the ankle finds a nestling spot on that left leg. We're going to take the right knee and we're going to try to rotate it away from the body. And while we keep that external rotation of that leg, that right knee, I'd like you to take the leg, the right leg, and pull the left leg towards the center line and then down towards the mat. Again, the experience and the effort is the right knee rotating out and away from the body. And then we're going to use the left leg to pull that right side all the way back up. And then we're going to use the right leg to pull the left leg back down. There's a slight antagonism, just enough pull where the foot's not slipping off the leg. And then come all the way back up and switch sides. Stem, cross it over, draw the leg along. You kind of feel the ankle click onto that bone of the left leg. Left knee kind of rotates open, keeping that external rotation effort realized as you use that left leg as a second purpose to pull the right leg towards the center line and towards its spot. You'll find you can only go as far as your left thigh will allow, right? As soon as it hits the mat or the floor, you're not going any further. So let's do that a few more times, slowly down. So almost like a little massage of sorts for those muscles on that left hip. You feel that muscular tissue kind of getting rolled over. So you're kind of like really just moving that tissue around and creating blood flow through it. This will help you feel better after class. It's a good stretch you can do, you know, during your day if you kind of feel like you've been sitting too long. All right, on this, we've arrived at the top. I'm pulling my knees up and into the chest, and I'm pulling forward up and into a seated position. We have a couple more stretches, then we're all done for the day. It's hard to imagine the time's gone by so quickly. Holy mackerel. So I have my feet spread nice and wide. I'm going to walk the hands along my shins, all the way down to my toes, all the way up and onto the toes. I'm going to try to grow the spine. And then much like, in fact, exactly like we did earlier, we're going to let the big toes float free. And we're going to take the palms of our hands and wrap them over over the small toes. And we're going to use those palms to kind of pull the toes towards the top of the foot. Grow the spine long, take a big inhale. And as you exhale, body veers fold down. Let the spine go into flexion. Let it just kind of all hang out. Head can dangle. You can do whatever it is that floats your boat. Take another couple breaths and see if you can kind of sink in, and then use your arms to kind of assist a little bit. And I always caution people, forcing where the body's not ready to go is apparent because it feels awkward and painful. They should feel like a little bit of enhancement to the stretch. You got a little more out of it. And if you got that feeling, you're kind of right on where you need to be. All right, let's release the feet. Use the hands on the shins to push the body tall. Feel that nice lengthening. Back into our seated position. We're going to bring hands over heart. We're going to take the hands, push them to the sky, release the arms, let the arms float down above shoulder height and come all the way down. You're going to take your hands, you're going to rotate them so that the palms face backwards, and you're going to sweep the arms behind you. As you feel the chest start to open up, that's great. So the tops of the hands are on the back, on the mat. We're going to take our bodies, we're going to lean back, and we're going to feel a nice, deep, hopefully deep stretch through the forearms that we have. We've got those hands planted. If you have your palms on, you're not going to get the same experience. So you need the back of the hands or the top of the hands. Proud out the chest. Make sure those arms are nice and straight. Try to lean back a little more. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, let those arms sweep back forward. Bring hands over hearts. And let me thank you for joining today. I hope you enjoyed class. I enjoyed you being here. Thanks for coming. Namaste.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, you got the whole gang. Look at that.
Wow, yes, I am flattered.
You're a star.
I see Lily's with you.
Yeah.
She is. She misses her mom already. I took
Yeah.
her to,
Yeah.
early in the morning, and Lily's been like a little shadow.
Aw.
Yeah. So if there's me and my
I've got to run. We're going into Charlottetown to get a generator.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well,
oh.
that sounds electrifying. Ann.
Yeah, well, it's sort of, we're in hurricane season, so we're just,
Yes, and there's one blowing up the coast right now.
yeah. So I'll sign off. I'll see you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to shower because I want to have lunch with your wife.
Yes. Gotta look your best now. You got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
cool. Have fun.
So I
Say
mentioned
hi.
Lily for her, to her.
Nice.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks.
All
Say hi
right,
to say hi to
everybody.
Kirsten when you see her. All right,
So
bye-bye.
cute. All right.
Yeah, it's funny. How's everyone else doing? Sue, Mark, how are you guys?
I'm good. I'm good. Mark? Sean, where did Kirsten go? You know the area better now.
She's going, well, Washington, D.C. She's heading up to, she's going to see our son.
Oh,
So she's
nice.
visiting him, and also to meet the new girlfriend.
Uh-oh.
Yes. She has no idea what she's in for. I like Mark. Oh, yes, you got it. You nailed it, Mark.
So is this serious?
I
Yes,
don't know.
so you would, I guess,
Yes.
I guess it's serious.
For
right?
Karen, yes.
Well, it's 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yes, but but this, I don't think Garrett had a serious a 6-month girlfriend before.
No, he's not. In fact,
So
6
this
minutes
is-
might have been a stretch. Yeah, he's always like
again, the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree, so it's not, critically talking about my son, about nothing I haven't done myself. Very secretive, right? My
Yes.
parents just had to know just enough that they would smile and nothing more. So he's the same way, And this was, the first like serial where he's actually said, I have a girlfriend. I'm like, sorry, can we get that in writing? Like, because I've never heard you say that before.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
is
so
fun.
it's good.
And apparently she's not going to meet the parents, but he goes every weekend to the parents have a home where, Sean?
It's in Annapolis.
Oh, Annapolis, huh?
Yeah, they had a place in, I think, well, in the Bethesda area, and they sold off that. They built a place out in Annapolis, or I don't know which waterway it's on, but it's on some of the waterways.
How come you didn't go?
Well, this WORK thing.
How long is she here?
I think she's just in for a couple of days, like just to Saturday, Sunday. She's doing client meetings.
Oh, okay, it's business
Tuesday.
too.
Yeah, she's got Georgetown on Monday and then Hilton on Tuesday.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so pretty full days with those meetings, and she's back. She comes back here Wednesday morning.
Mm.
So yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
I'm going to California this week.
Oh, when are you leaving?
Tomorrow.
Oh, nice. And this is out to see the grandbaby.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
And any new milestones in the grandbaby's life now?
Oh, well, he's 4 months old. He's doing he's just putting his hands together. He's talking,
I do that
learning-
too.
He's learning how
right?
to be secretive.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fun.
That sounds great. Yeah.
How's Bryn doing?
Oh, great. Like she's I mean, they're hard at work. They're in harvest, but she's got this big, boot on. They put a knee-high
My
boot
God,
on.
still.
What did she do?
She had 2 avulsion fractures of the malleolus.
Why?
She jumped off her tractor, and when she landed, it wasn't on sound ground. There was
Oh
a
my God.
gopher hole. So she kind of like rolled it and basically wrecked it. And
Did she
they're
get
not major
surgery?
avulsion. Pardon me?
No surgery.
No surgery. Yeah, right now they're letting the process take place to see if it'll resolve without surgery, and so far so good. So right now, no surgery.
Oh,
Yeah.
always
And she
something.
seems to be fine. The swelling is still a little, it's noticeable, but a lot of the discoloration, because it's been a few weeks now, has disappeared. So she's on the mend, and then
Good.
hopefully no surgical interventions required. Yeah, and then Garrett's going to have a different form of surgery happening today. Is my wife goes in and kind of surgically inspects all of his girlfriend's attributes, so she can form a real opinion. And I'm joking, of course.
Yeah, I
No,
think
you're
so.
not.
Well, yeah, exactly. Kirsten, I'm not joking.
Exactly. No, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway.
I
Good
think
for
she's
her
really
for
happy
the
for Garrett, and I think that'll kind of help guide her through the whole process of maybe becoming a mother-in-law. But again,
6
So,
months
we'll see.
in, right?
How old is he?
he's 28.
So he's young.
Yeah, he's young. He's he's still. I mean, I got married when I was 29, so he's kind of
Yeah, but that was a different time. That was a different
Yeah.
age.
yeah. So sometimes kids model their parents, but I never really told them.
No. That's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs to take time. Like he's just
It's a different world. Everything is different.
yeah.
Okay, well, I'll see you. Have a good week.
Yeah.
Hey, travel safely, Mark. I hope you enjoy your time with your
Yeah,
grandbaby,
have a
I
good
will.
time.
your son, grandson, and
Yes,
Sue.
yeah, thanks.
You have a great day too.
You too.
All right, thank you.
Tennis.
Tennis.
Watching tennis?
Oh, watching. No,
No?
we got a whole bunch of, we've had, our neighbor in the apartment. We just refer to him now as the raging alcoholic, because he is,
That's-
I mean,
That's your the rental?
yes.
Okay.
He's lost his mind, like literally. Like we were doing this renovation, and it's, you know, taking a little bit longer because anyone that's done any renovation in that building complex,
Has
the
him.
majority- well, he's also done some too, but no one's pulled permits. So as I started on this project, it's like we have electrical from his unit, the raging alcoholic. We've got plumbing from the unit next door to us. We're kind of in, you know, situated between, you know, two units. And it's just a complete mess. I mean, I got to get off the other guy's plumbing. Our electric was feeling his plumbing. I mean, we had plumbing from two different sides. One side was from our plumbing, which is fine. We should be getting our own water. The other side down by the kitchen, and this isn't a big place. It's 600
That's so weird.
It's
Does
completely
your the landlord, he's okay, like he's aware that there's this, it was built weird or whatever, right? That doesn't
No.
sound right.
No, what's happened is individual owners, should have got, they just did it the wrong way because it was cheaper than doing it the right way. And I'm
Okay.
not talking tens of thousands of dollars cheaper, talking, you know, hundreds of dollars. I mean, it's so ridiculous that people just couldn't fractionalize or separate their own plumbing and their own electrical. I mean, electrician,
Wasn't
I
it
mean-
built by one builder?
it was.
So how did people have the option to do different things?
Well, when they started renovating and updating.
Oh,
their-
renovating.
Yeah, they didn't follow basic principles, and they agreed. There's people that owned, you know, two units side by side back in the day. So we're unit 6 and 7, they had the same owner. And
Oh, okay,
instead of
okay.
doing the right thing, which would have been to have unique plumbing for both, he decided just to run all of the plumbing off of one thing, which is in unit 7, which is a problem for the new
Okay.
owners. So this is the
Okay.
issue. I mean, these are the issues that have been happening, and we got a code violation for not filing a permit. And that was called in by unit 5. So if you look at our unit head on, to the left of us is the raging alcoholic, and to the right of us is the plumbing disaster. So the raging alcoholic called us in. He called into the city, registered a complaint. And he has had 2 renovations, one in his kitchen and one in his bathroom, that didn't have permits. And when
Did
he
you
was
call in on him?
I'm doing that today.
Yes, well, then I would look forward to that. So how do you know he didn't have permits? You checked?
Absolutely. And his work wasn't done by a licensed contractor. His brother-in-law did his bathroom. The license, there's a kitchen company that's, you know, has a general contractor's license here, but they didn't hire a registered electrician. They used their own electrician who is, you know, licensed, but they didn't follow building code because
Okay.
his electrical, a live electrical outlet with no cover on it, so it was exposed wires, was buried in the wall. It should have been terminated. You should never ever do that. It's a
Yeah,
part
you
of
have
that.
to put the ends on. Oh my, how do you know that? Because you opened your wall and you saw his wall?
Absolutely. When we were doing, we had a leak in the ceilings when I was taking down all of the drywall to see if there was mold related issues. It exposed that he had that live outlet in the wall. And we warned him too. This is so ridiculous. This is how, like, he doesn't like us because, and we used to have a great relationship with this guy. Like, we used to stay on property during COVID. We knew he had a drinking problem. He's had a DUI. He had to go to court. He got convicted of driving under intoxication. Had to go through all of these trials and tribulations of, you know, getting back on track. And we kind of supported him along the whole way. He's got 2
Oh my
dogs. Just a freaking disaster. I mean, you
Is
can't
it-
write that shit. Sorry.
This is not your rental. This is what
Oh,
you
yeah.
bought?
Let me just stop
Oh, are we
recording.
recording?